Next up in the phase, we'll be talking about the lifestyle of a practitioner. It must be said that various diets, exercises, rituals, and so forth do not produce noticeable supplementary effects to proper practice of the phase, or lucid dreaming, astral projection, or OBEs. Naturally existent psychological and physiological comfort is of the utmost importance. Thus, methods recommending overeating, undereating, or tormenting oneself with various diets and strange exercises are useless and ultimately detrimental to a practitioner's wellness and balance. So all that is very true. However, on like one-off scenarios, I could see how, some of these things could actually be beneficial. Like, for example, if you're really sleep deprived, that can actually help your practice, at least for that night when you're catching up on your sleep, for a couple of reasons. One is, if you have to catch up on a lot of sleep, you'll probably be able to sleep for very long, like, 10, maybe 12 hours if you could somehow pull that off. And if you sleep that long, your dreams will absolutely be going off. Like when you start to pass like that, whatever, 7-8 hour mark, you spend a whole bunch of time in your 90-minute sleep cycles actually in REM and dreaming. Then plus, hopefully if your mind had a chance to rest and go through its deep sleep stages earlier in the night, your mind will be awake, your body will be more tired trying to catch up on that missed sleep. But then because your mind's a bit more awake and your dreams are getting so long, you can have really long, stable lucid dreams or phase experiences. And then also, if you're very sleep deprived and tired, it can make falling asleep initially very easy and come on quickly. And then because you hit stage 1 of sleep hypnagogia very fast, you wouldn't have to keep your conscious awareness intact for very long before entering into that liminal state. And then also, as another kind of bonus on top of being sleep deprived sometimes, is that if you are very sleep deprived, you can sometimes go directly from stage 1 of sleep into REM like we do later in the night. Typically, you can do that earlier on upon initially falling asleep. So, not only can you get to stage 1 hypnagogia, consciously aware, but then if you can maintain your awareness through that and you slip into REM, you can have a wild and, wake initiated lucid dream or wake induced lucid dreams, which are always, super awesome when you can get them.
One thing I've had to add in there is a technique that I haven't made use of in years, but one that I used to mess around with quite a bit, particularly when I was first getting into and experimenting with fasting. But fasting did, at least occasionally, seem to give me a noticeable positive effect on my dream work practice. And I think that was really for 2 reasons. One being just more like a natural byproduct of fasting, and then the other one being more technique-based. But to circle back around to the first reason, so I haven't looked into the scientific research on this to know if it truly is the case or not, but it's certainly said all over the place online. It's something that I did seem to notice in my own personal practice when I was going to sleep in a fasted state. And that is, going to sleep fasted does seem to make your dreams more vivid and help you sleep a bit deeper and longer. And both those things kind of feed into one another, right? Like, if you are going to be sleeping longer because your body's tired from whatever, not eating during the day, it's going to help you sleep longer. You spend exponentially more time dreaming. And then very often, too, dreams that come later on in the night tend to be more vivid as well, right? So it all kind of just feeds into itself. But then on top of that, too, like when you are in this fasted state and you're not running on sugar anymore, you're running on the ketones or whatever, it does seem to make you a bit more mentally sharp, and it's something that seems to be very noticeable in the daytime, but also noticeable at night, right? If you are and a bit sharper in your head, even if it's only just a few percentage sharper, anything you can do to have your mind be as sharp as possible only raises the chances of you realizing something strange within the dream space and then going ahead and having a lucid dream or a phase experience. And then when it comes to the technique side, and actually got this from I can't remember what book this was or what culture had these old dream temples. I should know this, but people used to take these long trek journeys to these designated dream temples, right? So they got to spend this day or 2 journey walking over there, right? And then a lot of times when they would be doing that, they would also be fasting as a way to sacrifice to the gods before they go to this dream temple, right? So I kind of just took that and applied it to my regular daytime fast and just told myself I'm fasting to have, this meaningful dream that night, or to have a lucid dream or phase experience or whatever. So every time I would think about eating, okay, that's why I'm not doing it. But then add on top of that, you throw in a little reality check when you are thinking about eating or, whatever else. That way you can just kind of sink that habit in deeper, because a lot of times when you are fasting, you'll dream about eating food and stuff like that. So if you have that habit built in from the daytime to do your reality check whenever you're thinking about food or feeling hungry or eating or whatever, that can then lead over into your dreams. You'll be thinking about food in your dreams, check your hands, realize they're blurry, go ahead and get lucid there. And then another way that I think this kind of helps too is that when you do sleep, even if you do sleep longer, right, you sleep in whatever 8+ hours, very often when you are fast, at least this is what would happen to me, is after hours 6 or so, I would have a lot more natural awakenings just, for the next few hours. And that's actually a very good thing. It's kind of like my modified wake back to bed technique, where you do these like really short awakenings, and every time you wake up, you want to immediately try to recall what dream you're coming out of, immediately try to go back to sleep, hopefully enter into hypnagogia, hopefully hit hypnagogia stage 1 early, be there lucid, pass through that state. And then as you get later into the night, very often you go basically stage 1 straight into REM. So if you have that transition, then you can have a wild or awake initiated lucid dream, and those are always awesome. Anyway, that's it. Back to the other video.
Or Ari. Sleeping normally and soundly is the most basic example of a lifestyle choice that produces direct positive impact on results. All right, and then we'll close it off with this. So here he talks about 5 different types or, lifestyles, I guess, that people can lead that can be beneficial for a phase practice. So first, people who are mathematically inclined, because they're very analytical and they're able to follow the directions, which we'll get to eventually in this book, because it gives very detailed instructions. They're able to follow it exactly, and then that can really drastically boost the chances of them having a phase experience. Next are athletes. Their practice is facilitated by their clarity and purpose, as well as ability to focus and push themselves. Third are those who love to sleep. A successful practice can definitely be predicted for a person who falls asleep easily and can slumber for 10 to 12 hours. Just crazy, man. If somebody can do that, man, you are very lucky. I cannot pull that off often. And then the final one here is for children. Their success is ensured not only by physiological factors and their parents making them sleep for, a dictated period of time, but also in much part by a clarity of mind yet to be encumbered with useless knowledge and hamstrung by excessive analysis. And then we'll end it with this. Try to find similar traits in yourself from some of the 5 we listed above, I guess except for the whole children one if you're already past that age, and then accentuate them in your own practice. And with this said, I'll wrap it up until the next video. Keep your phase practices legit.